Hey there, Heather. Hello there, Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey video. And we got ourselves a big matchup here. Well, we are doing the New York Islanders for the 81-82 season to see if they would three-peat in an alternate reality, if they can three-peat or they'll fuck it up. They have 44 points, only one back in Montreal, but Montreal, I think, has played more games. Nevertheless, the Islanders, Rangers, Pittsburgh, and Washington lead the Patrick. Philly's only 1 point back to the track and fourth place in the Norris if they do it. Montreal, Quebec, Boston, and Buffalo are doing great. Hartford, not so great. In the Smythe, Edmonton, Vancouver, LA, Calgary, Colorado looks out of place. And in the North, it's Minnesota, Chicago, Winnipeg, but St. Louis is fighting off Toronto and Detroit. Top four teams in each division in 81-82 move on. You know, it's kind of almost similar to today's thing in 2025, but instead of the top three automatically getting a spot in which division, it's a top four in each division. One versus four, two versus three. Whoever wins their division battles face each other within the conference in the divisions and then makes the Stanley Cup Finals. Wayne Gretzky and our own Mike Bossy tied with 33 goals. We have 19 20 goal scorers, but two 30 goal scorers right now. Gretzky and Bossy. Bossy trying to chase 50 goals in 50 games, just like he did last year in real life. Points wise, Gretzky has first. Mike Bossy's hanging on for second. Stastny and Rhea Kluche are fighting tooth and nail. Goes against Danny Heron, 11-1 with a 1.84 ERA. Goes against for the former Kansas City goalie. Eek. Gilles Meloche second. Rogie Vachon having a renaissance in a sense for third, and Billy Smith fourth. Standings wise, we've played 33 games. The Habs played 34. The fewest games played are Chicago, T. Dot, and Boston, whereas 37 games by Quebec. The Nordiques are hustling through their schedule. Points percentage wise, Toronto should be ahead of St. Louis for fourth. And Boston should be second in the Adams division, points percentage wise, and that's basically it. We've scored 150 goals. We are third in our conference behind Quebec and Boston. Yeah, Montreal's only scored 131 goals, but the goaltending has been to die for. 103 goals against. Only they and Boston have fewer goals against than we are. We're 83-3 at home, 11-5-3 on the road skis. Yeah, our 11 road wins are actually tied with Montreal for the most wins on the road. Team wise, take a quick look at the others. Mulinson 9-6-4, Smith 10-2-2, Bossy 61 points, scored Lane with 3 points. Highlights, best wins, lots of hat tricks, 59 hat tricks in all. Like a lot. Neil Broden, the last guy to get a 4-goal game. Honorable games where there have been 8 with 30 plus on the fan vote. Number one right now has been Philly against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh up 5-1 and then blowing it in the third period. Philly's 9-5 win on December 6th when they were down 3-0 to St. Louis and then came back to win with 9 of the next 11 goals. Edmonton, Colorado, when Colorado finally won a game this year. Chico Resch being Ron Lowe. St. Louis Islanders, November 26th. We were up 5-2 and we choked at Sutter Turnbull Classic. We didn't do this game like live. Rangers Boston 7-6 on Halloween night. That's the Rangers up 4-2 and somehow win next to Mike Rogers' late goal. Our 4-0 choke job to the Flames. Willie Nielsen choked it. Plett, McDonald left alley, and Plett. Well, Reagan was taken out for Lemelin, and we fucking let them off the hook. The Flames were who we thought we were, and we let them off the hook. It's the second highest comeback in the year. Washington, Colorado, when Washington won on Halloween night down 4-1. 6 straight goals. And Pittsburgh's win on December 16th when LA was up 3-0 to do it. So schedule wise, we play the Jets on home ice December 22nd. And our hatchetman, Billy Smith, in net against Doug Soltart, who would soon go on to play for the Habs and basically be taken out of Montreal when Patrick Wall was basically the main guy. Ed Sanitowski is taking the night off. Our Islanders 1986, Rolly Mulinson, our backup goalie for today. You got the great goal scorer Mike Bossy, what might have been if it wasn't for his wretched back. Brian Trottier, a good player and a good First Nations ambassador. Clark Gillies, first round pick at 74. John Tonelli, Bob Nystrom doing their jobs from 1980. Bobby Bourne, Denny Potvin, who the Islanders coveted so much they refused Montreal's offer of trading 5 NHL ready players to the Islanders for that draft pick that was Denny Potvin. The Sutter brothers, Brett and Dwayne, you had Brian, you had Daryl, you had Rich and Ron. Also in the NHL at one time or another, they had another brother, Gary, who actually was the oldest and had to take care of the farm while the other boys had to play hockey. Andres Kalor, Butch Goring, in what is deemed the first ever trade deadline big move in 1980 when the Islanders picked up Goring from LA. Wayne Merrick, Mike McEwen, good high scoring offensive defenseman that almost got ruined by one. Don Cherry, Thomas Janssen, Billy Carroll, Stefan Pearson, Hector Marini, Dave Langevin, former WHA, Ken Morrow, part of the American Ice team, Greg Gilbert, and Gordon Lane. The Jets, the non-goalies, Dale Hawerchuk, the number one overall pick in 1981, that actually propelled Winnipeg from 9 wins one season to 33 in real life. Morris Lukowitz, his brother Ed Lukowitz was a two-time Canadian champion curling. Paul McLean, yes, the Walrus. Willie Lindstrom, former Oiler in the WHA. Dave Christian, part of the American Ice team, alongside Ken Morrow. Lucien Debois, Dave Babbage, the number 2 pick in 1980 when they could have picked Danny Savard, but they didn't. Doug Smale once scored 5 seconds into a period. Thomas Steen, a Jets lifer. Brent Langholm, Norm DuPont, part of the WHA's Winnipeg Jets. Larry Hopkins, Tim Trimper, Greg Levy, Ron Wilson, I don't know if it's the right one. Jimmy Mann, Tim Waters, Serge Savard as a Jet. Way out of place. Brian Maxwell, Scott O'Neill, Barry Lake, Don Spring, Mo Mantha. Here we go. 2 minutes into the game. That's so Butch. His fourth from Wayne and Canelli. 2 minutes later. Our stamina, great. Our stamina is on fire. 3 minutes later. It works. We score. Hot to trot. His 26 from Goring and Langevin. 5 minutes later. It's a time for goals and a time for love. Number 34 is in the net. That's Who's the Boss anthem from Bobby Moore. 3-0. 2 minutes later. Winnipeg Skiers. Sweep. Hurry hard. Sweep. That's Morris Lukowitz's 28th in honor of his brother Ed, Trimper, and Lundholm, the assist. Much later. Another hit, and that should do it. That will be the end of 20. Honors 3. Winnipeg 1. 5 minutes later. Paul McLean. No, the Walrus says no. 5 minutes later. We score! Brett Sutter. Stiff from Canelli and Fox. It's a good one. 2 minutes later. Chance Gillies? No. Try to chase the goalie, but we can't. Over this time, Canelli. Cocolini Canelli. The 20 from Langevin and Clark. It's a 5-1, and Stankowski has to come in the game. 5-1. We can't get too far in front of ourselves. Remember Calgary. 5 minutes later. Well, there we go. Danny Cochran from Gorman Canelli. That should help. 6-1. First minor penalty of the day, and it's Trimper. And Canelli gets the second from Kalor and Top, 7-1. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the others win 5? Yeah, this was the year they won 15 straight games. No ties were interspersed. It was 15 straight wins, and that was the record till the Penguins in 93. Canelli, throw those hats on the ice. Deserves it from McEwen and Ronson. 8-1. I think Canelli. Is that a third period hat trick? No. No, it's not. And Stephen Person trying to make it 9, but no. Yeah, Canelli scored late in the second period. Well, we give up 1 goal. That's okay. 8-1. We're proving that everyone. Watch out. We're going to pillage you. Winnipeg has to head to the other part of New York, Rangerland. And they crushed the Rangers 6-3. I guess no Christmas games, obviously, because they didn't want it. Now we get the Flyers. Seriously, the Flyers? Ooh. Toronto wins on Hockey Night in Canada against Detroit. Montreal not playing on Hockey Night in Canada. That's weird. But anyway, we host the Flyers and Billy the Hatchet Man in that against Pete Peters, who was pretty good for the Flyers. Rick St. Croix and Pally Lindbergh. Remember the name Pally Lindbergh in a few years. also there for the Flyers. They have their main goal scorer, Bill Barber Kitchener. That's right, former Kitchener Ranger. Brian Prop, not a Kitchener Ranger, but he was a junior standout with hockey pucks. They say Regina, but that can't be right. Brandon, that's it. Brandon, Manitoba. Brian Prop for good Flyer / North Star. Ron Flockhart, Reggie Leach, the Riverton Rifles, still scoring. Ken Linsman, the Rat. Tim Carey, known for his power plays, goals and scoring ability. Bobby Clark, still in the league. You know, he had type 1 diabetes, didn't let himself go, and he was basically the main guy, Flyers coach and general manager at one time. Ray Allison also played for Brandon, alongside Brian Prop. Inca Silasalo, Bane Wilson, bane of their existence. Paul Holmgren, who scored a hat trick against the Islanders, becoming the first American to get a hat trick in the Stanley Cup Finals. Bob Hoffmeyer, Al Hill, who had a 5-point game one time and then fell off the cliff. Glenn Cochran, no, not the musician. That would be Bruce Cochran or Tom Cochran. Tom Gorans, Greg Adams, the Canucks, Greg Adams. Mark Patel, Jimmy Watson still around. Brad Marsh, who was known for his helmetless 1,000-game career, which ended in Ottawa. Fred Arthur, Bob Daly, Frank Boff, and Lindsey Carson. Kind of a rematch from 2 years ago in the Stanley Cup Finals, Flyers Islanders. Aggression? Always got a little too aggressive. It's Bane. Did we take a chance? Sutter can't, Carroll can't. 5 minutes later. Kurt Canale goes against American Sutter. Red Sutter, 1-0. So Canale's on fire. 3 minutes later. McEwen has scored for Phillies and Blaine. 2-0. I should have waited till after the song ended. It's a time for goals. It's number 35. Slam the puck right in the net. Who's the boss? He is. 35th from American. Nice one. And that was the end of that. After 20 minutes, we're up 3-0 for this. Well, we were up 3-0 in the first period against the Jets. 2 minutes later. Here's the finale again from Putnam and Gilly. 1-0. It's amazing. 3 minutes later. Let's do we make it 5? Merrick? Ugh. Jets Dwayne. Damn it. 4 minutes later. Hot to trot is 27. And Canelli, he gets 5-0. Canelli's on fire. It's not Bossy who's the big guy on fire. It's Tonelli. And Lindbergh will now come in the net. Might as well let him play. Going for another penalty. It's Bobby Clark. Who else? Ooh, Kalori Bossy. It's a 6-0. This is amazing. 6-0 through 40 minutes. Look at 7. Hot shot from Pearson. That's a rough one. We scored 8 against Winnipeg. We scored 7 against Philly. Is that a record? 15 goals in 2 games for me? I think so. This was the high scoring 80s. Ray Allison trying to score, but no. And Billy Carroll from Sutter and Crutches. Brennan Sutter. 8-0. I would do the Billy Carroll Miller prop, but it's 8-0. I'm not going to. Kill the clock. But Gordon says no, I will score. From Klotz and Pearson, he does 9-0. This is like unprecedented. There's another game with Linsman. Gordon tries to score, but can't. We win 9-0. Billy Smith says, yeah, ho hum. Ho hum indeed. Not 3 goals in the first, second, and third periods. I don't know if I've ever done that before. Tonelli, McEwen, Bossy, Tonelli, Trottier, Merrick, Trottier, Carroll, Goring. So Trotz had 2, Tonelli had 2. So Tonelli has 5 goals the past 2 games. Bossy's only got 2. Holy shit. 4 penalties. The good news for the Flyers is they only gave up 1 power play goal. 9-0. Fuck. I wonder if that's the biggest blowout of the day. Highlights the big win. 9-0. Nope. Minnesota put 9-0 win over Hartford. Yeah, no team has scored 10 goals. Yeah, the highest has to be 9-0 by proxy. So yeah, we tied for the biggest thing. Colorado, nobody beat Colorado, but Colorado lost by 6 Their worst defeat was by 6 to Quebec. And Colorado just sucks. Colorado's got how many wins? 4? Colorado's 4 wins, yet how many teams have suffered worse defeats than Colorado? 6. Calgary lost by 7 one time. Hartford lost by 9. LA lost by 7. Islanders lost by 6 to Washington. I think I did that one. But that tied for Colorado, sorry. Philly lost by 9. Toronto lost by 8 to Washington. And Winnipeg lost by 7 to us. So 6 teams suffered worse defeats than Colorado, like of all people. All right, 27th. We are not done the 3-game path yet. Buffalo crushed Washington. Oh, good for you. Philadelphia. Philly's next game is in Calgary. They go to Western Canada and they beat Calgary. Colorado, well, speaking of blowouts, they got blown out 9-0 by Minnesota. Phil Meyer played for Colorado. Yikes. Kristoff Smith, McAdam Smith, Hackinson Smith, Smith, Payne, Cicerelli. So 4 goals for Bobby Smith that game. 29th, we host Montreal and went. It's a huge one. Well, a blowout for Chicago, losing to Quebec. But we play those pesky Habitants. And yes, the hatchet man in the net against Richard Sevier, number 33, the best 33 in Montreal before Patrick Roy. Sevier is technically the number 3 goalie for Montreal. Rick Wamsley, Danny Heron, and Mark Holden also there. But yeah, Sevier in that. Montreal's like, they're preparing to get their assets handed to them. We're 2 points ahead of them. And I believe we played the same amount of games. Yeah, we both played 35 games. Montreal, they have Mark Napier playing Keith Acton, Pierre Mondu. Oh, Mondu, Mario Tremblay. Hate that fucking guy so much. You know why? Because of my Patrick Roy guy. Steve Shutt, still a high-scoring left winger. Guy Lafleur winding down his career, but he's still lethal. Bob Gainey, best defensive forward around. Even the Russian coaches were blushing. Doug Jarvis, a one-time Ironman before Phil Hot Dog Castle came around. Mark Hunter, Doug Riceborough, Kitchener. Larry Robinson, Kitchener. Doug Wickenheiser, Regina. Yeah, he's not a Kitchener Ranger. Doug Wickenheiser, Montreal picked them first overall in 1980 because Colorado sucked so badly. They were the worst team in the NHL, but they already gifted Montreal their first round pick in a 1978 trade. Montreal went with Wickenheiser instead of Denny Savard, who was playing in Montreal in junior with a line with 2 men also named Denny. That was one of the worst Montreal draft blunders of all time. They did get Denny Savard back, but only for 3 seasons in the 90s. Craig Laughlin, who would go to Washington in a massive trade for Rick Green, among others. Réjean Houle, Peanut, as they call him. Pierre LaRouche, 50-goal scorer for both the Habs and Penguins, but he was a malcontent. Chris Nyland, a bodyguard. Gaston Gingras, part of the Baby Bulls thing. Ron Langway, who went to Washington, won 2 straight Norris trophies, and Montreal's like, why the hell did we get rid of Ron Langway? Brian Engblom, I think, also went to Washington. Gilbert Delhomme, defenseman. Robert Picard, Captain Picard. Guy Lapointe, who was winding down his career. Jeff Brubaker. Killing the clock. Let's go! Let's go! Holiday Road, Holiday Road. He's not Clark Griswold. He's Clark Gillies. His 12 from Bossy. 3 minutes later. We're probably going to get scoring on. I know it. From Houle and Acton, it's Larry Robinson. Say it with me. Kitchener. 4 minutes later, Acton. Did we take advantage? Fook. Potvin would have loved to do it. Remember, as I said earlier in the video, Dennis Potvin could have been a Hab. The Habs wanted that number 1 pick to get Denny Potvin. They were willing to give 5 players to the Islanders who just finished their expansion season, but the Islanders said, no, we're going to build through the draft. And Bill Torrey was a fucking genius. 2 minutes later. Let's go! It's a time for goals and a time to press. Beat up Montreal like a chicken breast. It's 36 from Langevin and Nystrom. 2 minutes later. They score. It's worth the drive to Acton. If you're an Ontarian, you know the commercial Acton in the Acton Hyde warehouse. The, the Hyde warehouse. It's worth the drive to Acton. Anglin with assist. Much later. We score. He does it again. Bossy is second. Who's the boss from Bourne? 3-2. Against Montreal in his home. He's trying to ruin his own town. He's scoring again. Wayne Sata. Reminds them in penalty. 42. 42. Much later. We're the 5-2. They're going to put Mark Coleman in the net. Hector Marini. I'll have a Marini shaking not stirred. His third from Dwayne Sutter. 5-2, and Mark Coleman's coming in. They're down by 3. Montreal's like, damn it, we suck. Oh, yes, you do. They tied it at 2, but the Islanders are like, no, Montreal takes a penalty. It's Wickenheiser. And Bobby Bourne from Morrill and Canelli. It's a 62. Holy crap. That's, what, 23 goals? 23 goals in 3 games. Like, you don't see that every day. Well, this is a high offensive goals per game, yes, but like 23? Really? 4 more goals, 23 in me. And Montreal tried to score, but we tried to score themselves. Okay, we were the red die, not the blue die. 5 minutes later, Tenelli tried to score. It's over now. We win 6-2. Hardcore team Fooey. 1 goal off of Holden. 6-2. He held his own, must I say. But yeah, Robinson and Acton did tie the game. But Gillies, Bossy, Sutter, Dwayne Lesson, Marini, and Bourne make it 6-2. We were on fire. 23 goals in 3 games. Like, fuck, you don't see that every day. So the next video will start with a series in New York against the Rangers. Right now, we are 6 points ahead of the Rangers, Pittsburgh, and third. Washington and Philly are diving for that 4th playoff spot. In the Adams, it's Montreal leading Quebec, Boston and Buffalo. Hartford's trailing behind. We have 50 points. We're on top of the NHL. Edmonton's got 48. Vancouver, then LA, and Calgary. Colorado is slumping. They do have a 5th win. In the North, it's Minnesota, Chicago, Winnipeg. Toronto's now snuck into 4th place somehow because St. Louis and Detroit can't take it. Gretzky's losing his goal touch. Bossy's making his. That's 37. Lukowicz makes himself the 3rd 30-goal scorer. And Billy Smith's goals against is 272, just behind Heron, who surprisingly didn't play for Montreal. I'm surprised they didn't start Heron. Or they put him in, but they're like, nah, we're dead. Mark Holden. And Shills Malash is the only other guy ahead of Billy Smith. Melansson's 13th, but behind Dave frickin' Paro, I'm sorry, I can't stand that. And you have a guy with 4 wins like John Garrett in 13 games that has a better goals against than 10 double-digit winners, Tony Esposito and Pete Peters. Well, I mean, we did blitz Pete Peters. Look at those, 4, 6, 7. Who's the worst? Glenn Chico Resch, 420 and 4. Well, don't say bad for Colorado. He got 4 of the 5 wins. Pat Reagan looks bad. Ron Lowe for Edmonton, even though that, they're tops. And Mike Liut, who's having a terrible season after his MVP run-up spot. Just saying. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Odoo.